Now, when you're first getting started in a business, you know it. There's a whole lot of excitement around getting started. We're starting to tell everybody we're getting started in our business. We're starting to see ourselves being really successful in the business. We start to see ourselves making money, being our own boss, being in charge of our own time. And it really feels good. There's a lot of excitement around that because the business hadn't started yet. All of these things are just in your mind and you're just like, man, I can't wait to get started. And then you get started, right? And you all know what happens then. Once you get started, you realize, man, this is going to be tough. And after a little while, guess what happens? The excitement starts to wane because you can't stay excited forever. You can't stay excited for a long period of time. You're just excited in spaces. Now the business is started, reality hits, and you're starting to question yourself because you're being challenged probably more than you've ever been challenged before in your life. And trust me, I know how that feels. I remember back in the day, I was in the military. And I was originally what you call a 92 Alpha. I was a logistics guy when I first came into the military. And then I decided to say, hey, you know what? I want to change over to an air traffic controller because I started to look at, I'm going to get out of the military very soon. So what am I going to do when I get out? So I said, I'm going to be an air traffic controller. So that required me to change my MOS. That's what we call a job in the military. So when I changed my job to an air traffic controller, now I had to go to school to be an ATC guy. And when I got to school, I was ready, I was excited, and then school happened and reality hit. And I was like, man, did I make the right decision? I shouldn't have done this. This is not for me. Now I'm second guessing myself. And you know why I'm second guessing myself? Because for the first time, I'm really being challenged. It's something that's really punching me in the chest and saying, you are going to have to deal with me or not. And I shied away from that because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't have the confidence to deal with something new. You see, when I was a logistics guy, I mastered that. I was very good at the logistics world. I was very good at my job. I was very good at being a soldier. But when I transferred over to ATC, now I'm the new fish. I'm the new guy, starting all back over, and I didn't have that confidence to address that challenge. I shied away from it. And because I didn't have the confidence, because I shied away from it, it got on top of me. And guess what happened? My family said to me, hey, you don't have to do that. If that's not the thing that you want to do, you know, you don't have to put up with that. Because they saw the effect that it was having on me, right? And your family don't want to see you suffer. And but more so than anything, it was just a lot of stress because I wasn't picking it up as fast as I thought I should. Well, I decided to say, you know what? I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna keep going and keep doing this. And my uncle came to me and he said, now it's okay to quit if that's what you want to do. But know this, at the end of the day, when the challenge came to you, you quit. Now, that's all he said. Just know that you quit. Well, because of that, I made the decision not to quit, and I continued to go on through ATC school, graduated, and went on to be an air traffic controller. Now, I didn't get out and go and start being an ATC in the civilian world because that's not what I wanted to do. But what it did, that experience taught me was you're going to be challenged. And when you are facing challenges in your life, the big challenges, what will you do? Will you keep moving forward or will you shy away and quit? Sometimes you need to go a different path. Sometimes you don't just stay on something because you don't want to quit or you don't want to give up. You don't want to be labeled as a quitter or somebody who gave up. Because there are times when certain things just are not for you. You may have gone into it with the mindset, this is what I want to do. But after you've come into it now, after a period of time, you've looked at it and you're saying to yourself, I don't think this is for me. And when you start saying that, when you start doubting that, then you're not going to be putting forth the effort that you need to put forth to make your business win. And when you're not putting forth the effort, guess what you're doing then? You're starting to pay for a business, you're just giving away money, and you're not getting anything in return. So in essence, you have a business that's set up, you're paying for a surety bond, you're paying for your load board, you're paying for a TMS, you're paying for insurance. Everybody is getting paid except for you. So I think there has to come a time where you decide in your mind, hey, I got to stop. I got to really look at this and decide, am I going to move forward or am I going to say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to quit and move on to something else. Because sometimes that decision is necessary. So when is it time to lick your wounds and say, hey, you know what? I gave it the good old college try. Now it's time to move on to something else. Well, I think it first starts with how much time did you give yourself in the beginning of this business? Because I think all responsible freight brokers, all responsible entrepreneurs have to give yourself a time limit to say, number one, I'm going to give myself a 12-month period of time. And within those 12 months, I'm going to go in and learn this business. I'm going to learn how to make money in this business. And if after 12 months, I can see a path forward, I'll keep going. I'll keep building this business. But if I don't see a path forward, if this business I realize at some point is not for me, I am going to pull the plug. And I'm going to do that within a 12-month period. Now, for those of you who didn't impose any time limits, you just started your business and you said, hey, I'm going to see how it goes. How do you know when it's time to pull the plug on this business? Well, I think the first indicator, number one indicator is if you're watching a video about deciding whether you're going to quit your business or not, then that's a real good indicator that it's probably at least time to consider quitting. Because you're watching this video for a reason. It's a reason why you saw that topic and you said, hey, let me click on this video. It's probably because you're at a point in your business where you're at least thinking about it. And I want you to know this. If you've gotten to that point, most people really have already given up. It's just a matter of now will you keep paying? Because you've given up on the business. You really aren't putting in the real effort that it takes to move the business forward. So for all intent and purposes, you've already given up, but you're just paying for the business right now. So the question is, how long will you prolong the pain? Now, another indicator that it's time to pull the plug on the business is if you've been in business for a 6-month period of time and you have not moved a load yet, you don't have a customer established yet, I think it's really time to give it some thought and start thinking to yourself at least, is this something that I really want to do? Because how I look at that, if you've been in business, you've been in a freight broker business for 6 months and you haven't moved a load yet, it's because you don't want to move a load. You are not fighting hard enough. You are not putting in enough effort to move a load. So that tells me you're not really ready for this type of business. This is not what you really want. And if you've gotten to that point, now is certainly the time to give up, to say to yourself, let's move on to something else that I might like a little bit better than this. Because if you're not putting in effort, there's a reason why you're not putting in effort. Maybe you've gotten to the point and you've looked at it and you're really saying to yourself, this does not fit my skill set. This is not something that I can wake up and want to do every day, let alone enjoy doing. And you don't have to enjoy it, but you do have to have a desire to want to do it. And if you don't have the desire, you don't want to wake up, challenge yourself, let the business challenge you. If you don't want to do that consistently, then it's time to at least consider moving on to something else, moving on to something that you may be able to flourish in. All right, and here's another good reason to say it's time to get out of here and do something else. You know what that is? Let's say that you've been in this business about 6 to 8 months now, and you've said to yourself, man, I hate selling. I don't like the idea of having to sell a service to a customer. I don't like the idea of having to talk to customers and convince them to work with me. I really don't like that. I'm fundamentally against selling. If that's the case, it's time to go now, because a freight broker business is selling all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. That's what we do. In order to win in a freight broker business, you have to be willing to learn sales. If you don't already know it, if you're not good at it, you have to be willing to go into it and learn how to do it, how to relate to people, how to talk, how to communicate with people, how to listen, and then ask the right questions. So it's all about sales. And if you don't like sales, if you don't want to embrace the learning journey that comes with sales, get out!
Get out now!
Now here's the last thing that I'll share if you're unsure, you just don't know if it's time to quit yet. It could just be time to recommit yourself, rededicate yourself to the mission of building a successful freight broker business. But now here's the thing. This is what I think you really need to do. Do the QWINK method, K-W-I-N-K. This is a really good method. It says, the K, knowing what I now know. If I had to make this decision again, could I unequivocally say yes? Now, if you cannot say unequivocally yes, then what you need to do is get out of the business, because there's a reason why you can't say yes. If you cannot say you would make this decision again without a shadow of a doubt in your mind, it's best to get out and get out now. Because if you stay in it, only thing that you're going to do is prolong the pain. So when it's time to make the decision to get out, have the courage to make the right decision for yourself, for your business, and for your family. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's the 5-video series, and it's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It gives you a chance to come into the office with me, watch over my shoulder as I move loads, talk to shippers and carriers. That way you can get a better understanding of how this business works before you come into it. And then if you want to know more about how you can transition from a part-time freight broker to a full-time freight broker, I'll leave a free video right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.